So welcome to week 3 of operations management lecture. In this week, we will first have a quick review of the last things which we studied. That's the productivity. So I mentioned last time, productivity is the measure of efficiency, and it can be measured either using a single factor productivity or a multi-factor productivity. So for a single factor productivity, say for example, labor productivity, we can calculate in terms of the number of units produced divided by the effort put in, which is the labor hours used. And remember that whenever you are doing a single factor productivity problem, always make sure to use the units properly. And the multi-factor productivity involves the various resources, not just the labor. So we normally express them in terms of the dollar values. So one example could be, say, productivity mentioned in terms of output divided by labor, material, capital, etc. So these are the learning objectives for this particular week. In this week, we are covering chapter 2 of your textbook. That's the operation strategy in a global environment. So we first help you understand what is mission and strategy, and then we will try to explain 3 different approaches to achieve the competitive advantage. So understand whatever we study in this particular thing is applicable to any company that you select, that you can think of. Then we will identify 10 different areas of operations management, the various decision makings which happen in the operations management. And we also understand the significance of what's called as a key success factor and core competencies. So I will explain what makes a firm successful and what are the things which are needed to ensure that its competency is maintained within the organization. And we also, towards the end, we explain what's called as a global operation strategy. So one hint I want to give you, that this chapter, the things which we study here, is the foundation for your case study. So for any company that you select, your case study is expecting you to do certain things. So a good understanding of this chapter will help you to do very well in your case study. So to start with, mission statement, it tells what the company is doing. Why do we even exist? So what do we provide to the society? That's what the mission statement of any company tells. So if you want to understand, if you don't know a particular company, if you want to understand the in a very broad way how that particular company is going to operate, you should look at its mission statement. So mission statement tells what do we provide to the society. So some examples, if you are going and searching for examples of, say, Apple or Walmart or anything, it's very important to understand that the mission statement has to do a lot of things. It tells what's the value system of the company. What is it that the company really values? Is it the profit, or is it innovation, or is it, what is it that the company is valuing? It also tells you how the company is aspiring to grow, how the company has plans to create profit. So any company which you can think of, be it Apple or be it Dollarama, every company has plans to be profitable. So mission statement guides you how the company is planning to achieve it. It also tells you, gives you an indication of how it looks for its customers, what's the public image it wants to build. So these aspects will come under the mission statement. So it's very important. It tells you a full picture. It gives you a full picture of how an organization wants its image to look like. So some of the things which you can look for, you search. So just an example here for Nike. It says that to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So If you look at this statement here, it tells the focus of Nike. It is trying to create inspiration and innovation. So it's a company which is so innovative, and it tells that it is gonna cater to every single athlete. It's not telling that what's the sport, what's the thing which it is connected to, but it says that it wants to provide, it wants to bring innovation to every athlete in the world, and it's not restricting its focus to a single country or a single continent. It is extending its focus throughout the world. So this is very important to understand from the mission statement. So the company which you select will give you an indication of how it looks like. Now strategy is very straightforward. Strategy tells us how that particular mission has to be achieved. So mission is the what of it, and strategy is the how of that particular thing. How do we provide these services to the society? That's what the mission statement and strategy statement will tell you. Strategy tells you the how of it, and mission statement tells you the what part of it. So we spoke a little bit about the strategy. Strategy is how you will be achieving the mission statement. So there are basically three different ways in which companies can achieve it. So there's any strategy that you can think of generally can be classified into three different ways. To start with, the first thing is called as a differentiation strategy. So I will try to give you an example here. So think of Amazon or Walmart or Apple as an example. So Amazon or Apple, they focus on the unique things which they provide, be it product or be it the type of service. So Amazon's uniqueness comes from the fact that you get a single day delivery of the items. You can go online and place the order for any item. The return process is cheaper, faster, and there's a huge collection of items from which you can purchase it. So the uniqueness is very important. That's what Amazon is focusing on. The same is the case with Apple. They try to come up with products which are unique. So the focus of these sort of companies is the strategy in which they achieve it. They want to go beyond the normal companies. They want to provide huge value to the customer, but that value the customer gets because of the uniqueness of their service, because of their unique products. So understand that they never speak about the money involved in it, but what they're speaking about is the uniqueness that they are providing to the customer. So this could be one of the methods in which the companies can follow and achieve the competitive advantage. When you say competitive advantage, when you have multiple companies doing business in the same place, if you want to be competitive than another company, then you need to have something very, very different than the other company, even if you are providing the same set of products or services. So these companies focus on the differentiation for creating that competitive edge. Now, the second way in which companies can do is through the cost leadership. Cost leadership means they try to focus. Again, all the companies add value to the customer, but the value in this case is in terms of providing the materials at the lowest possible price. So this is what, say for example, Walmart is focusing on. You go to Walmart, they always speak about the price match guarantee because they want to create that image on the customer that they are the cheapest provider of it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are getting a low quality item. So this is very important to understand. This is the second way in which companies can achieve the competitive advantage. The third method is called as a response strategy. So the best example for this response strategy could be in terms of, say, Amazon follows both the things, a differentiation at the same time quick response as well. Now, another example which I can think of is in terms of the our McDonald's or Tim Hortons, think of it. So you go there, you get the item really fast. So the focus there is in fast food chains is to make sure that they are responding to your requirements. They are responding to the needs very fast. So response could be the third strategy. So any company which you are taking will follow one of these things predominantly. So it's for you to understand which strategy the company is following and then try to work around that. The different things which we study in operations management is equally applicable in any of these companies. So it's for us to understand what's the mission statement and what's the strategy which the company is following before providing the recommendations. So going further, just the same thing what I already discussed here. So it speaks about differentiation. So there are multiple examples which you can think of. See, if you're going to Walt Disney, or if you can think of Apple or Hard Rock Cafe. So they focus on this unique thing. There are multiple theme parks, but Walt Disney has created a uniqueness in that particular thing, which makes people go there year after year. The same is the case with Apple. Say, for example, they have created, there are multiple mobile phones companies available, but Apple always tries to stay away. They try to create this uniqueness in their products. The next example was on cost leadership. I said, provide the material at the lowest possible price. So Walmart is the best example that I can think of, or there are different airlines, say for example, Southwest Airlines. So these companies, they don't provide unnecessary, say for example, if you go to a line like this, say Southwest, they won't be providing additional services. They just provide the basic service of making you move from one location to the other location. They don't provide, say, they may provide food, but they may charge for it. So there are things which, or they may not provide unnecessarily, say magazine or something which you would like to read. Whatever is the bare minimum will be provided in these cases. The same is the example with Walmart. Walmart always focuses on providing the lowest possible price to the customer. So this is the second strategy that you can think of. The third example I spoke in terms of flexibility. Flexibility can be in terms of, say, Pizza Hut, or in terms of companies. So they're really fast. They're really fast. When you go there, you place an order. The same is the case with, say, HP, which has started coming up with lots of products in the last few years. So if you try to look at it, they're really flexible. They're trying to be so fast in adapting to the customer needs, or any fast food chain for that matter, McDonald's or Tim Hortons or any of those things, Wendy's or any of those things which you can consider providing service faster to the customer. So this is the third strategy which companies can basically follow to success. Remember these things: a mission statement and three different strategies: differentiation, cost leadership, and response strategies. So now let's try to quickly look at the different operations management decisions which we will be studying in this particular course. So to give an example, the different strategies or the different decisions which we will be studying in operations management will be involving, say, product design. It can be in terms of quality, it can be in terms of the process, location, and so on. So these are the 10 decisions which can be used for any type of industry. The question is, if I am looking at, say, differentiation, the companies which follow this strategy, so what are the aspects that I need to think about? What are the aspects? So how do I ensure the product quality? How do I ensure the process is so designed that they always come up with, say, differentiated products? The same is the case with human resource. If you're having a company that has so much focus on creating unique products, like, say, Apple, it is important to have the intellectually strong workforce for them. So human resource plays a very important role there. Now think of cost leader like, say, Walmart. So if Walmart has to be a cost leader, it is important for Walmart to receive the materials from different suppliers around the globe at prices which are cheaper than what they are selling. So they are claiming to be the cheapest leader, the cost leader. So if they have to make profit, the Walmart uh, has to make sure that it is getting the materials at prices which are cheaper than what it is selling. So supply chain, inventory, and other things, definitely quality, process plays a very important role. The same is the case with response strategy. If you are thinking of, say for example, quick delivery in a your fast food chain, you're going to McDonald's, it's very important that the people are well trained to do certain things, and you have arranged the layout is very important, because if you are looking at McDonald's or say Tim Hortons, the person who is taking the order, the coffee machine is just next to that, and even let's say the muffins which you want to take, they're all next to the person, so there's no need for going to the kitchen for taking the order. It's possible for the same person who takes the order to pick the items. So this is where the layout plays a very important role. So it depends, for though there are 10 different decisions, so based on the strategy that the companies follow, some decisions are far more important than some other decisions. The next concept is what's called as a product life cycle. So I'm not sure whether you have heard this particular thing earlier. So product life cycle basically means any product that you introduce in the market, anything for that matter. Now, it's very important to understand how the sales look like. Say for example, when you're trying to introduce a new particular thing in the market, say be it a new iPhone or be it a particular new product which is there, it takes some time for it to catch up. So initially the sales will be lower, people will be curious to know what's really happening to that particular thing, so not everyone is going to purchase it. So this phase is referred to as the introduction phase. Introduction phase basically means product gets introduced into the market. The next phase is called as the growth phase, wherein more and more people start to purchase that particular item. So the second phase is the growth phase, and over a period of time, it's like it becomes a very common. It's no longer a new product which is launched. People know that this particular product will provide this service, so it reaches a certain maturity stage. But after that time, most of the people have already purchased this product. Now there's going to be a dip in the sales. So your y-axis mostly is representing here the sales, and x-axis is the time. So at the beginning, the sales are lower. At some point in time, you see that it reaches a sort of mature stage where the maximum sales happen. But beyond that, there's going to be a drop in the sales. Now, many companies, what they do is either they will be introducing a new product when the maturity of, say, if there are, let's say, one product has reached the maturity and the sales has started to drop, at that point in time, they will be introducing another product in the market so that the total sales will still remain the same. So sales of product A is dropping, but the product of sales B has started slowly increasing. It's in introduction phase. This is one way. The second way in which people work on is what's called as a product extension. Instead of developing a brand new product, they will be having some modifications made to the existing products and then try to sell it. It could be in terms of providing discounts to the products. It could be in terms of having an additional service provided on the product. So it's a product extension, means it's not necessarily a new product. It's the same product with some added features in it. Now, in this case, it's very important. So if you try to think of introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, certain aspects are very important. In the introduction, it's important to have uniqueness, right? It's important to have research and development is very important. But when it starts growing, it's important. It's important to make sure that you may maybe sometimes adjust the price. You will understand how the people are responding to your product. Accordingly, you will make some changes. Now, once you reach a certain stage called a maturity stage, it's very important to make any changes immediately, because people know that's what is written here, poor time to change the price or quality, because people have got a sense of that particular product, and then when it starts dropping, we focus on it. Now, there are some strategical issues which are mentioned here, so you can go through, read this particular thing. I'm not reading out everything. So what I want to mention is, in a product life cycle, this is very, very important. At what stage you are currently standing, and how do you want to proceed in your journey? This is very, very, very important. Towards the end of this lecture, almost like the aspects in mission, we also mentioned the 3 different strategies. We also explained how the product life cycle is looking like. Now, a small factor, small issue which I thought I will mention is called as a key success factor. Key success factor basically means what are those key things that the company should do, which is very much necessary to achieve its mission. So if this is not present in the company, it's not going to succeed. So it could be in terms of, say, for example, some companies like, say, Apple, the key success factor is the human resource in itself, because if they don't have this intellectual manpower available for them, the company is not going to be successful. Now, that's not necessarily the key success factor of Walmart. Walmart needs manpower, but understand, not having the best of best brands will not make it go bad. But what is important for Walmart is the different suppliers, how they can find those suppliers. So that becomes the key success factor. So this is important for you when you're recommending. Understand what is a key success factor for that company and provide recommendations. So how do we identify? So what is it that the company must do to compete in the market and to be perceived as value adding? This is very important. What are the factors that are important in the customer decision process? So sometimes you need to have intellectual people. Sometimes the price is the decision factor. Sometimes the product in itself is the decision making factor. Now, how is it that the customer is selecting your company over the competition? So Walmart is succeeding because of the price. So it has to be, that's where your key success factor is coming. Now, based on that key success factor, once you understand the key success factor, you try to develop the competencies within your organization to match that. What it means is, if you're a company like Apple, your focus is to create newer products. So let's go one step back. If you want to create newer products, you need to have intellectual manpower. So intellectual manpower is what your unique skill is, your key success factor is. So the company should be centered around that competency, having more and more people recruited who have these special skills, who are experts in certain things. So that's what makes Apple successful. The last bit of it, which is important for you to understand, is many companies go ahead with globalization. Many companies do not necessarily operate in one location. Now, they may be operating in multiple parts of the world. So what are the 4 different ways in which globalization can happen? So before knowing this thing, it is important to understand why companies go for globalization. Then once we come back to this may make more sense to you, but I'm just quickly reading out the things here. Then we will go and understand why globalization is important, and then we will make a sense of it. So when I say there are 4 different global strategies, one is called as a global strategy, second is called as a transnational strategy, the third is an international strategy, and the fourth is called as a multi-domestic strategy. So you don't really need to memorize this thing, but you should have an understanding of how different companies go in a global. So what I mean to say is, a company like, say, an IT, a computer, a software industry going global will not be the same as, say, for example, a retail industry going global. There will be a difference between the 2 companies which are going global. It's also possible that you are just exporting your materials. That's also possible. You have your manufacturing located in one place, and when you are going to the other location, this is very important for you to get a sense of it, how that process happens. Now, this is, let me just try to explain this part of it. So what we have shown here is, one is called as the cost reduction. So if you are focused more towards reducing your cost, if that may be the motivation for you to go from one location to another location, you may look for really high cost reductions. That's why you are going there. Okay. Now, once you go to that particular country, the second question which you have to ask is, am I going to modify my, so I have gone, let's say I'm in Canada now, and I have to set up a business in another country. Say I want to go to the States, and the question is, okay, maybe because things are a bit cheaper there, maybe the labor is cheaper there, I am interested in going from Canada to, say, the States. Okay, that's great. Now the question is, okay, you have gone to the States, are you going to change the products that you sell, or are you going to sell the same products? Are you going to change the products as per the need of that market? Are you going to have some local modifications made on the product, or are you going to sell the same product everywhere? So this is a very important question to answer. That's the base in which things are being settled. So for example, international strategy basically means it's just an exporting part of it. Say for example, you have a steel, you have a particular business in this place, you are just exporting it to different locations. You're just exporting it. Okay, there's no focus on cost reduction there. There's nothing. You are just sending the same product to different parts of the world. So that's possible. That's called as an international strategy. The second focus could be, you go from, say for example, the franchisee systems, wherein say McDonald's or the Body Shop or any of those things, say you are opening Pizza Hut, you are opening in different parts of the world. The focus is not to reduce your cost, but to make sure that you cover a huge set of people in different parts of the world. So whenever you go to say McDonald's, say I can give this example in India. In India, the vegetarian option which we get from McDonald's is significantly higher than what we get in Canada. So it's basically because of the local demand, the local needs of that particular thing. So it's very important for you to understand how that particular company is working. There is no focus on reducing the cost. Reduction is not the motive, but to cater to the needs of the local demand is important. The third example is what's called as a global strategy. So in global strategy, you're not changing any products. See here, so you're not locally responding to anything. You're selling the same product which you sell in Canada, but you had gone to that country because the cost is lower. You had gone to a globalization because the cost is lower in that particular country. Now, the last bit of it is called as a transnational strategy. Transnational strategies, you want to reduce the price and you want to adopt to the particular needs of the market. So that's called as a transnational strategy. I'm going to quickly tell you guys why companies go for globalization. It's very easy to understand. One is to reduce the cost in terms of the labor, or in terms of the taxes, or in terms of the tariffs which are involved. Or the second could be to improve their existing supply chain, because some resources are very close. Some, for example, raw materials are closer in some locations. So you go for globalization because you want to improve your supply chain, or it's possible that you have a certain resource available in one location. You want to provide better goods and services in terms of the on-time deliveries, or in terms of the different aspects of it. So this is interesting. Or it could even just be for understanding the markets, whether I'm now working here, I just want to understand how that particular thing is going to look like, or it is for improving your operations, or maybe for just for attracting the talent. So it is very important to understand the various aspects why companies go for globalization. This is a question which you need to think about when you're selecting the company, whether it's just for selling or whether it was for some other reason that the company has gone. So this answers your recommendation perspective. If you are thinking that the company has gone there for attracting the talent, then you shouldn't give a recommendation saying that, oh no, I'm going to reduce the cost because of, that's not the motive which the company has thought of when it has gone to a different location, say for example. So there could be even some other economic aspects as well, in terms of the literacy rate, in terms of the political stability, in terms of the different languages, population, interest rates, and so on. So there could be multiple reasons why companies go for globalization. So it's very important. I always say a culture. I just want to mention here culture, because when you go and expand in different countries, it's important to understand that the cultural aspects can also be quite different. So when you are trying to set up a thing, it's very, very important. Now, in terms of, say, some people value lunch break as very important. Some people value the punctuality. It can be in terms of the way in which things are looked at can be different. So it's very important when you are looking at a globalized trade. And in terms of the child labor, in terms of the bribery, and so on. Now, so with this, we are finishing your chapter 2. So this actually the summary of it. Understand that the global operations always give some challenges as well as opportunities. It's important to understand what's your strength and work towards that. And your mission and strategy should be aligned to what you want to do. And you will be able to understand your key success factors. Based on that key success factor, you need to work on. So that's all for this particular week. Thank you so much.